Hey there, it's Lucas Cadden. And today I wanted to talk about something called the observer effect. And back in 1998, there was really a groundbreaking study that was done by the Weizmann Institute. And they found that they had taken some electrons and they had found that through the presence of an observer or the absence of an observer, these electrons could change state from a particle to a wave. And the difference was whether or not there was an observer. So they would take them and actually place a barrier in between it, and they could go from one side to the other. They could transform into a wave and then back into a particle again. And the significance of this is incredible because prior to that, the idea in quantum physics, for example, was just that, was an idea. They didn't have somebody that could prove that matter could change form just by the presence of awareness itself. And this is one of the ways that has proven that it is actually the fact that it can do that. There was also another study by biologist Bruce Lipton years later where he had taken cells and he found that cells aren't pre-programmed themselves, that they have a root or a base structure, and that the information and the input that they receive determines what type of cells they become or what happens to them throughout their lifetime. And he'd taken these cells and divided them, split them into three, and each group of cells that had started from the same beginning type became three different types of tissue. And so some of this research, you take a look at today's stem cell research, you can find that they're doing miraculous things such as growing new organs, for example, or being able to cure diseases and things like that. But where these two collide is that not only in the information that is given to our internal or external worlds, if reality itself is subjective and is dependent upon our presence, our awareness, and then our thoughts and our energy and our intentions that go into that, then we can actually have more influence on not only our daily lives, but also our physical health, for example, and our subjectivity to various things, whether they be illnesses or diseases or things like that, but also the material world and how things can change as a result of an observer or a mere presence. And our presence, specifically, our awareness, our intention, again, our energy that gets put onto that. So when you take these two, the very basic scientific studies, and see how that can change for anything, we oftentimes are told, for example, other forms of science are, that these are the absolute truth, when in actual fact, a lot of those sciences have to do with who is doing the research, what their intent behind the research is, what it is that they're looking for, and what effect that their presence or non-presence has. So if the outcome of that can be affected by additional signals, for example, if it's scientific research on health-related things, and that in addition to the messages that are received, but also maybe toxins that are present or other harmful energies, or they may not even be harmful. They could be positive or negative energies that are emitted toward either a cellular structure or toward a physical environment. You can see how these things change. There's some amazing research too by I forgot his name, a Japanese gentleman who looked at messages being delivered to water molecules and then looked at them under the microscope, froze them, looked at them under a microscope, and the positive ones had these beautiful structures and the negative ones were really distorted and deformed. So it was yet another instance of how someone's energy, how someone's intention, how someone's presence can have an effect on a physical thing outside of ourselves as well. All this comes down to is that we're all getting ready to step into a new year. We're all presumably hoping that things are going to be better in 2021 than they were in 2020. I saw something the other day that said, nobody say a thing, because 2019 was honestly a hard year for a lot of people as well. And 2020 obviously has been a banner year of difficulty for most people throughout the world in many different ways. So how can we affect some change in that is also what we believe, what type of thoughts and intentions and energies we put forth, and what type of science we want to back and what type of research we want to back. And is this going to be something that has the general overall good and well-being, or is it going to be sometimes some fear-based things and messages that actually have a negative effect, even though it's presented as potentially a positive thing? What about that can be negative, or is there some other way that can have a better outcome, for example? So science is relative, is part of this, and you can help shape your own future through your presence, through your awareness, through your simple things such as displaying gratitude and love and connection and having positive thoughts and intentions, and being able to change those physical particles in our reality, such as the observer effect, and also change internal structures on a cellular level, and everything in between. So I hope that made some sense. It made a lot more in my head before I started speaking it, but I encourage you to check it out. I'll actually put a link in here to a Science Daily report on that observer effect research from the Weizmann Institute in 1998, and take a look at that and think about the possibilities of what that means in all of our daily lives. And I hope you're well. Take care. Until next time, hit me up anytime, lucascatton.com. Be well.